What better way to start this way? But we got Ian here from, is it Desert? Or
Desert,
is it DZRT?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Desert Pest Control.
Desert Pest Control? Cool. Well, it's good to have you on the pod today.
Thanks,
This is your first one you've ever done before, or no?
Yeah, first one.
Yeah, that's cool. You have a lot of offers for podcasts. You just turn them down often.
I usually tell people I'm too busy, but when it's two good guys that I don't mind chatting with, I've made time for it. So.
All right, appreciate that. Just talk me through your life, man. You've moved all the way from Texas to Arizona on a whim to go start a business with your brother. Like, that's crazy. A lot of people that are gonna be watching this have never owned a business. I've always thought about probably owning a business, or maybe want to just do something on the side, and they have no way, shape, or form the same guts as you guys do to move your entire family to go do something like that. Like, what drove you guys to make that decision?
I think that there's a couple of different things. So most of us have had a job where we work for somebody else, like 90% of our lives.
Yeah.
And then I think that what makes employees really good employees is when they can find a way to take ownership of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a waitress that waits on you, little things that good waitresses will say, like, I have this for you. Or like, what kind of sodas do you have? Oh, I have Diet Coke, I have Dr. Pepper. When you take ownership of something that you're doing, even if you're not the owner or whatever, it helps the way you portray yourself to the customer.
Yeah.
And so, being involved in sales and I'll go back and I guess talk a little bit more about my background, but when I started to sell better was when I decided that I was going to take more of an ownership approach to, pitching a customer. And so, quickly the way that you perceive yourself in your head is who you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, self-perception is everything, even if you have to fake it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when I stopped thinking of myself as just a salesman for somebody else, and when I started thinking of myself as more of an entrepreneur, and I own my customers for the first year, whatever.
Yeah.
It changed the way that I carried myself to people that I was, people that I was selling to. So, anyways, a little bit about my background. So I was born and raised in Utah, small town. It's called Panguitch, population 1,500. Best place in the world.
Nice.
But anyways, I grew up Mormon or LDS, and I'm sure you guys have lots of buddies that are, and most of us are kind of encouraged to serve 2-year missions for the church.
Yeah.
So when I turned 18, I decided that was something I wanted to do. So I did that, and I got called to Texas and Houston. Mm-hmm. So for 2 years, I rode my bike and talked to people on the street and met with people in their houses, and basically tried to convince people to change their lives for a product that I was offering, which was the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it's really, really hard to talk people into making lifestyle changes for Jesus.
Yeah.
And, I think when I got done with that and I realized that I had these connecting skills with people, that it would be dumb to not try and use them for the benefit of me and my future family. It's not, I don't think that's selfish. I think God gives us experience and talents for a reason. So that was kind of what led me into door-to-door sales. My uncle had been in alarm sales for ADT and Apex Alarm before they became Vivint for like 10 years. And so basically he was kind of like, hey, I've been knocking on doors for these big companies for too long. I need to find something I can do on my own. And he just was kind of led to pest control. Mm-hmm. So anyways, that was my first job after my mission, was working for my uncle, selling pest control for him. And we didn't really have any formal training to begin with, and so it was just a lot of me talking to people and asking them if they needed pest control. And just from doing that, I started out, it was very, very ghetto, not very formal. But I was getting to the point where I was making a little bit of money, and more money than I'd ever made in my life. And so, from that first year to now, this is my 8th year doing door-to-door sales, my money's just kind of, it's just kind of climbed my ability to make money for myself. And my life's also got way more expensive, so I'm still broke. Obviously, I got 2 kids and wife that spends all my money and stuff like that.
Same, brother. Same.
Just kidding. But anyways, I think that like I was beginning to say, it was easier for me to start out taking more of an ownership approach because my uncle owned the company, and no, it wasn't mine, but I was able to have a lot of pride in what we were doing because I felt like I wasn't working for this big corporation or this big company. I was, talking to people about my family business essentially, and that hasn't changed from then until now. Like I still have a lot of pride in that, and that's still kind of what I push. Because I think that in any industry, most people like to work with family operated businesses or businesses that they perceive to be more personal, more able to be tailor fit to the individual. And so I think that's kind of what people like to hear, and that's also what I believe in. So when you sell something, you have to find something that you believe in, and you have to find something that people will like to hear.
Right.
And when that's all true, it kind of all pieces together as it's kind of the perfect puzzle. And for me, that's kind of what it was. And ultimately what drove me to start my own company was it's easy to sell something you believe in, and it's nearly impossible to sell something you don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And people can feel whether you're being sincere or whether you're being fake. But anyways, that's kind of my background, but I did that for 7 years for my uncle's company, that's SATX Pest Control in San Antonio. And then my twin brother and I started Desert Pest Control in Phoenix. And it's been awesome. We're 2 full months into it at this point, and 2 full months of business, and it's been great.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, you mentioned just earlier about like the family-owned business, which I feel like everybody that starts a business probably has that as like the forefront of their mission.
Sure.
How do you plan on navigating those waters when you get so big that the last name doesn't matter anymore because it's just a big company? Like,
it's a good question. I think that for me, like I try to focus on the now and be as present as I can right now. And plus I have my back against the wall. And so, like I have goals and stuff like that. But to answer your question, I don't know exactly what I would do from that, but that's why it's good to have, a good network of people that can help you when you get big. So that's something that you guys, obviously, as my marketers, can help me with is, first off, my growth doesn't all have to be dependent on me and the people that I meet and talk to, because I'm only going to talk to 100 people a day, and of those 100 people a day, I'm only going to have 15 of them listen to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why it's important to find a good marketing company to work with. And then, you guys grow with me and work with me where I'm at. Y'all have big clients and small clients, and the goal for every business is to get big. No one wants to stay small. But there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And I think that, I don't know, I just think that the right way to do it is to be as honest as possible and to use whatever it is that you have going for you to your advantage. So like my best thing for me right now is I have, less than 150 clients. I know all my clients on a first name basis. They know my twin brother who's at their house. And then one day when we get big, that'll still be something that's really cool about us, is that we're, a brother and brother business, a twin operated business.
It's pretty unique.
It's cute. Yeah, people like to hear it. But then we can use some other things to our advantage. Like we have lots of trucks in your area, and we have lots of customers. Look at all your neighbors that we service.
Yeah.
Where right now, I've never been the type of salesman to say, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Ian with Desert Pest Control. I take care of Sally and John and Jim and Bob. Because people can tell that I'm being disingenuous if I tell them that. Like I first ran into you, Noah, at your door.
Yeah.
And the first thing I told you was that this is my business and I'm an entrepreneur and I don't have many clients in your area and I want to earn your business.
Yeah.
And I think that that appeals, that probably doesn't appeal to everybody, but it appeals to the kind of customers that I want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the type of customer that I really don't want is somebody who wants the sexiest company, the biggest name, someone who likes all the name brand stuff. Like that doesn't really appeal to me. I like people who are loyal and, customers who are willing to give someone a shot based on honesty, price point, and, service.
Yeah.
And, I think that we've done a really good job of acquiring the kind of customers that we want to have. Because a customer is only as good for as long as they're with you.
Yeah.
Like if a customer pays you $1,000 but they're only with you for a year and they give you no referrals, I'd rather have a customer who pays me $500 that's with me for 5 to 10 years and then refers me to all their friends and family.
Yeah.
Like ultimately for me, that's way better and way more attractive to me than getting a 1-year client on an outrageously expensive price. I don't know, there's always been something in me that I like to save people money, and that's not a good salesman attribute. And it takes a lot of money out of my pocket, but, especially while I'm small now, I do have to be really competitive, and I get to be competitive. I hope I don't ever lose that. But I'm willing to, I cut people deals all the time, and it's something that, it's a balance. You have to have like a desired price point that you want to get people at so that you can afford to give deals when you need to. And I definitely give out, a lot of freaking deals, but it's I think it's good for me.
Yeah, that's good. It's a humbling matter.
Sure.
We do the same thing with our offers, like we'll give certain people scholarships that quite frankly probably don't need a scholarship.
Sure.
And it's you kick yourself in the end and you're like, damn, I don't know why I did that. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, like treating the customer right. That's the way to do it. So on the concept of competitive, like I think everybody, that's the first thing they look for when they're trying to start a business is like, what's the competitive edge? What's the offer that I'm offering versus everyone else that's offering the same exact thing?
Right.
Like in your world, like what makes your product different than the guy down the street that's doing the same exact thing?
It's an interesting question. I think that it all depends on how the person perceives me. Mm-hmm. And I think that at this point, I'm pretty good at being straightforward with people and they appreciate that about me. And so I'm able to be the small guy that does it, that's close to them.
Yeah.
Just like their neighbor does, but I'm also professional. Sometimes when you use a service of somebody that you get put on the back burner, or they may not be the most professional company. They may not have as many products or services at their disposal compared to a large company. And, coming from, I guess, my background of working with my uncle's company, we did start out as that small company that didn't offer every service that a lot of the big companies did. And we had to be very cheap because we were learning pest control.
Yeah.
And we were learning all the nuances of it and, different treatment methods and all that kind of stuff. Like it's not a one size fits all problem. There's a lot of area specific and seasonal treatments that work some places and don't work other places. And anyways, now that we had that experience with 7 years at that company and seeing it grow from, 0 customers to just under 4,000 customers, I think that we're able to offer all of the things that a larger company does and still be as personable as the next door company. And I think that's what's great about us.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think too, like just the mentality of like treating customers in higher esteem, separates you from the pack, so to speak. Because I think most people are just in it for the profit. And like they realize that, oh my gosh, I can go knock doors and get people to give me money, like that's, it's a pretty easy transaction. They'll do it every single month for however long,
Right.
So that's customer centric focus first, and then training that across your team and your reps and everybody that ever sees the customer has that same mentality is what really actually drives the nail down when it comes to this is why I would choose this company versus another company. So
Right. And I mean, everyone's been sold something before, and everybody's had positive interactions with the salesman and negative, whether it was a car. Like, I bought a car a couple of years ago. I was shopping around at a couple of different dealerships, and one dealership made me feel, I don't know, they weren't cheesy, they weren't corny, but they were still very genuine.
Yeah.
And the other salesman was always trying to like pump me up and like tell me all these things about me that like flatter me. Yeah, flatter me. And like, I didn't like that. Like, I didn't like being sold to that way. And there's different personality types. Some people like to be sold to that way. And that's part of being a good salesman, is you have to mirror your customer. Mm-hmm. And Noah, I remember our first interaction. You complimented me on my mirroring. You were leaning on the wall. I was leaning on the wall, like body language. And I don't do that stuff intentionally anymore. It's just something that
just natural.
It's become a little bit more natural to me. Sometimes I have to be intentional about it, but you learn the type of customer that likes to be complimented. You learn the type of customer that likes to get straight to the freaking point and doesn't want to know about anything other than price. And then you get customers who they need to know A through Z about the service before you introduce price.
Yeah.
And anyways, I think that there's all different personality types, and you have to learn to present your product in a way that appeals to that person.
Do you do the same training door to door, the 4 personality traits? Bull,
the
owl, the sheep, and the lion?
It not in that way. I actually didn't learn the personality codes or whatever through sales training. I learned it at another job that I had where I worked at a school for troubled youth, and you learn the personality colors of like red, who are more authoritarian, and blue, who are like more emotional and loyal, and whites, who are non-confrontational, yellows, who are like fun-loving, and all they care about is having fun. They're not real serious people.
Yeah.
And then, once you can read somebody by their appearance and the first couple, like, you only have 30 seconds to read somebody in my job. So sometimes you misread people and you have to backtrack, and other times you get it right. And I get things wrong all the time. And that's part of the game. That's part of what keeps it cool. For me, that's what makes it exciting. Is it's a different thing every day. It's kind of like golf. I suck so bad at golf, but what keeps me coming back is like, you'll never have the same shot twice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you'll have similar shots. Like, you might have a pitching wedge from 130 yards out one time, and then the next time you play that exact same hole, same course, you're in a similar spot, but the flag placement's different, and you have to use a bigger club or a smaller club, and you have to swing differently. And this job's no different than that. It's I don't usually run into multiple people that are the same type of buyers every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, but it's usually I think that ultimately, like, you're dealing with individuals, and they need to be treated like that.
Can't
I
put them in a box.
Yeah, like being. Some people get offended when you intertwine like the gospel of Jesus Christ and business and money.
Yeah.
But God doesn't want us to be poor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, He wants us to succeed. And Christ in His ministry, He was always very one-on-one. Like, He would take time to step aside from the group and help a woman who was in need, or and a lot of the times He was helping people that other people wouldn't.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that you have to be willing to treat people like individuals if you want to follow His example in your life. Like, and I don't want to make brag about myself, but something that I take a lot of pride in as a human being is how I treat other people.
Yeah.
Like, it's what makes me, like, I have doubts about myself just like everybody else does, but one thing that I really like about myself is I feel like I'm a good friend.
Yeah.
And, when I go to the grocery store, for instance, like, I read the name tags of the people that are helping me, and I thank them and ask them how their day's going.
You do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's just because, like, that's how I appreciate being treated. And You know, Sally, who's the grocery store clerk, is just as much of a person as me, or the, I don't know, I don't know, they're just as important as the millionaire or the bus driver or whatever. Like, everybody has value to God, and you see yourself with higher esteem when you treat others with that same attitude, right? Like, the way you treat others is ultimately how you feel about yourself. So if you're rude to others and you think you're better than others, like, it reflects your own insecurity. And anyways, I definitely don't know that because I've always been perfect at it. But I feel like that's something that I apply in my own salesmanship and in my own job. Is like, first off, I'm not willing to get somebody caught up in something that isn't good for them. Yeah. And there are times where I walk away from people that I could sign up on pest control if I can see that they have a lifestyle that I couldn't, that wouldn't match with my price and my service. Right. If their bug problems are too bad and they have too little money, I'm not going to offer them service at $45 a month because their problems need $100 a month at least. Yeah. And if I can't, being an owner, like, I don't profit anything from signing up a piss poor customer. Yeah. Not poor by money, but someone who will be a crappy customer. Yeah. You lose money on that. I lose money on that. Yeah, every time. And if I had a salesman working for me, I would hope that salesman would understand that ultimately signing up a bad client actually does not profit them anything, and it doesn't profit me anything either. It's actually a huge L because it wastes my time. Yep. And then, it's just all around. It's a bad idea. And there's been times where in my former job where I signed up clients for my uncle that I knew were going to be problem clients, and I knew were going to be. You got commission, baby. So you're chilling. right. But most salesmen don't get paid fully up front. They, you owe somebody on a back end, and that back end money that comes out of your check. Back charges, baby. Right, back charges are a real thing, and anyways, you can't be so caught up about like only signing up the perfect customer that it takes you away from potential businesses or business, right? Like, there's you definitely have to use your own discretion with that type of stuff, and sometimes people surprise you. I'd have like people who I never thought would be great customers that I would look at their customer profiles like 6 years later, and they'd have like 45 services with us and no reservices. So all they did was get service. They never called us back for free. Yep. And they were very profitable customers, and they were obviously very happy with our service because they stuck with us forever. Yeah. And so sometimes you don't know, but there are definitely times where, owning my own business, I am more hesitant, or I walk away from people that 5 years ago when I was freaking young and just trying to sling deals, which I don't know that I've ever been that type of salesman fully, but I probably wouldn't have blinked twice about signing them up. Oh yeah. Especially when it's commission versus ownership. yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, it's a big difference. But there's only any salesmen that work for somebody else that watch this. Like, I think the ultimate takeaway is you have to present yourself and start thinking of yourself like an owner, whether you own your LLC or whether you own, like, you are a business owner. Yeah, you're contracted by another business, but when you start to think of yourself like that, you grow up a little bit. It makes you take the stuff you do day to day more seriously, like your schedule and your habits and your interactions. You present yourself more professionally, or you're able to be more authentic. And some people aren't real professional people. I'm not. I usually have my hat on backwards. I only turn it forwards because it's poking into the back of this chair. I'm not 6'5", 200 like Noah here. My head never goes up above the chair here, but well, the camera can't see your feet, so you're okay. And they can't see that I cut my shoes open so my fat ankles fit into them. But anyways, I think that ultimately you have to be yourself. Yeah. Like, it doesn't help you to be anybody other than yourself, and people like to interact with I mean, ultimately, like my job is about getting someone to want to listen to me for longer than a minute, because like my service is just as good as any other company, if not better. And my prices, I'm willing to give people freaking deals.
Yeah.
Like if everybody would listen to me for longer than 60 seconds, everyone would buy from me because they're getting a better service than they have, or they're getting a service just as good as the one they have, and they're getting a better deal, and they get to know their service providers. And there's very few people that already have that set up with their current, service company. But yeah, no one's going to want to listen to somebody who, like, I got in the habit of saying, hey, I'm super sorry to bother you, I'll be quick. That type of person is so easy to say, hey, get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's super easy to tell someone like that no.
Yeah.
Compared to somebody who shows up and isn't like, I'm not leaving your porch, but like is pleasant to talk to.
Yeah. I have something of value, which is why I'm interrupting your day.
Right.
No, because if you didn't have anything of value, you'd be like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I have this really pathetic, piss poor product that I'm trying to sell you.
Right. Like no one wants that.
Yeah. So, well, I love where you're going with this, because this is actually the exact direction I was hoping we were going to go.
Cool.
You're reading my mind. It's kind of freaky. But could you go back to the psychology of the personalities? Because this ties in really nicely with the course we're actually creating about how to create six figures. Cool. And specifically in the jobs, because not everyone that's watching this is like trying to own a business, Sure. But what they want to do is they want to increase their lifestyle through finances. And the best way to do that is to go down a path, especially if you haven't done this traditionally through college education or whatever, and you want to start making six figures. You're going to want to do that in three places, which is probably the easiest, which wraps up a business owner in general, which is a marketer, a salesperson, and an operator. So someone that's in operations. But I think that the methodology you were talking about, or the psychology of the different personalities, ties in really nicely to that. Because if you're in those four categories, or if you're in those three categories of a job, you need to master the art of that, especially in the sales department. Because when you're talking to people, whether it's over Zoom, in person, whatever, that personality is extremely important. I actually have done multiple trainings on this from a totally different side of it that has like different ideas, but it's the exact same concept. But could you talk more about that? And then I'll lead into one more question after that. Sure.
I mean, I think that, I'm just applying what you said to myself, but as a business owner, I have a tendency to want to wear every hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do everything. And that's not always what's best for my business. Mm-hmm. Like what's best for my business is for me to not try and do the online marketing.
Yeah.
It's for me to hire someone who's an expert. What's best for my business is to do what I feel like I am a expert on, and that is sales.
Yeah.
Right? And then I leave the operations up to somebody who's better at doing that type of thing than me. I'm not super good at keeping things in order and taking good notes on stuff and whatever. Like I was never a great student. And I think that it's good to know yourself and know your personality and not like overload yourself with stuff that your time would be better off spent on things you're good at.
Yeah.
But anyways, I also understand that, everyone who listens to this isn't going to be a business owner. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else, what advice would you have to give to somebody who is trying to make, like you were saying, six figures in their job or with their investments or whatever?
Yeah. Well, just going back onto the different categories you talked about, the red, the blue, the yellow, the white. If you could expand on that and then couple that into when you are on the path to making six figures, what matters most in the sense that this is what a business owner would want their employees to do, which you kind of hinted at an idea of it before, but you could highlight more of that, which is, would you sell something as a client that is a terrible client? That's not what somebody that makes six figures is going to do. Like they think differently about their position and their role in the company because they have more stake or skin inside of the company itself, because the company's willing to pay them $100,000, if they wanted people that were just order takers, they would pay them $20,000 a year, that's why those positions exist out there, because they just need someone to operate a machine, or they need someone to stand by a conveyor belt and move packages from point A to point B.
Right.
But if you're trying to make six figures, Like, what is the legit things that you as a business owner would be like, I would be willing to pay somebody $100,000 to be this person for my
So, like,
company?
what attributes would that person need to have?
And what did you do to make six figures too as well?
Sure, that's bold of you to assume that I have made six figures.
Sorry, my
before.
bad.
It's flattering.
7 figures.
7, yeah, definitely not 7, but yeah, I mean, I think that like 6 figures for a young man that's around, 20 to 30 is a really, it's a high goal, but it's also super attainable. Like,
Yep.
no matter what you do, as long as you're not a W-2 employee, and even if you are, you can get raises and do certain things to make your way up, but it's definitely harder to be a W-2 employee and make that 6-figure income unless you have a certain degree that got you a job that has that kind of ceiling. Just a lot of people don't, but I think that like whatever your personality traits are, you have to really, really capitalize on them.
Yeah.
Like no matter what your personality type is, there's good things about every personality type. But I would say for someone who is an entrepreneur, because I think everyone would agree that if you want to make 6 or 7 figures of income, you have to like adopt the personality traits of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your red personality, your authoritative groups of personalities.
Yeah.
If you're too yellow, and I'll use the codes that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
They're the same thing as the sheep, the bear, the
It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But someone who's like yellow, like a clown or like a jester type person. My brother's that way, like just an entertainer.
Yeah.
Has no worries in the freaking world about anything a lot of the time, and it's the best thing
about it. Is this
about him.
receding too, or no?
No. And mine may or may not be. It might all be in my head.
Hey, Thor, put that hat back on, all right? Make
Might
people
all be.
jealous.
I got to put this on the other way, but yeah. So I think that you have to adopt the traits of kind of a more red personality, and so one of those traits I think that so like if I was to hire someone and say, look, you're worth 6 figures, for me, I hire contractors who sell for me, and those types of people who make 6 figures are the type of people who generate me 6 figures of income.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what that takes because I've done it
Right.
tons of times, not tons, but at least the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And the types of people who do that are people who wake up at the same time every day, people who work out every single day or do something,
Like physical.
right? Something physical,
they're
whether
active.
it's going out on a walk or running. And then people who do some sort of reading every day, just doing those little things that are like small habits, they really change how you look at the world and how you present yourself. Like something for me, you have to have like non-negotiables. Like I'm super bad at getting sleep. I love staying up late and freaking watching TV and playing around on my phone and chatting with my wife. Like I love being up late and then waking
Can't chat
up
with your wife,
early.
man. It's no
Yeah,
go.
true. Not chatting with her about the stuff she wants to chat about, the stuff I want to chat about. I don't care about Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and Dancing with the Stars and stuff. I'm not talking about that stuff, but I think that where was I getting at? I started thinking about my wife and got sidetracked.
Hey, that's a good thing. man. That's good.
Okay, yeah. So a non-negotiable for me is I have to move my body every day.
Yep.
Like I have a little bit of a garage gym, so whether that's doing like a full workout or like today I was short on time, I only had time to do a 5x5 on the bench. 5 sets of 5 reps. And like, no, it's not ideal, but if I miss one of my non-negotiables, for some people that's waking up at the same time every day, for some people that's a cold shower every day.
Yeah.
For some people, that's telling their wife they love them or their loved one that they care about them or whatever.
Yeah.
It messes your day up. So, like, for me, that non-negotiable for me is I have to do some type of workout. But anyways, to expand from that, like, the attributes of someone who makes a lot of money in any industry is someone who's persistent and doesn't give up when things get hard. And that's different for every industry. In sales, you have to push through multiple objections and multiple no's.
Yeah.
You have to learn to not take things personally. And, for someone who has like a blue personality where they are very loyal and very emotional, it's really hard to not be personally offended when someone says something insulting to you, or when someone even doesn't buy from you.
Yeah,
like
knows.
Yeah, it's hard to, people with that type of personality get really beat down over stuff like this, where someone with like a yellow personality, they don't care. They just go on to the next door. And that's a great personality to have for my industry. Like I'm kind of a red and yellow mix, where I'm kind of authoritative and I am kind of like a get stuff done type of personality, but I'm also like, I like to have a lot of fun, and sometimes I can be really carefree.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to balance that stuff, definitely. And someone who comes off too like authoritative or in charge doesn't do super well all the time, because people don't like to be
told what
talked to like they're being told what to do, or people like to feel like they're understood. And so it's definitely not good to be all the way one way. You have to kind of learn to gather different personality traits from people. That this is what I would say is, everybody knows someone who's successful. You have to study them and figure out what it is about them that you don't have, and then you do it. Because every person has most people have the same kind of potential.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's on different scales, but everybody can 100x their life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, some people are given less, some people are given more, but everybody can 100x whatever they're given.
Yeah.
And for me, I look to examples of like my friends. I'm lucky to have successful friends. I'm really lucky to have successful family members. And I look at the things that they do, and those are the things that I try to emulate in my life. And that's what's made me have the kind of success that I've had. I'm not saying I'm far from where I want to be, and but that's what's made me successful in what I do, is I've been able to kind of copycat the things that I see other people do. And I think that's a good trait of somebody that's successful, is being willing to learn. Being able to admit that you don't know everything, and just being kind of a sponge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being able to soak in stuff from others that are successful.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not sure if that's exactly where you wanted to go with that.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. Exactly what I needed. So,
sure.
All right, last thing to wrap this up. What's the wildest door-to-door story you have? The craziest thing that ever happened?
Jeez. So the one that comes to mind is it was like 7 p.m. in San Antonio. I was in the inside 1604 loop, which is like the older part of town, and it starts to get a little bit more ghetto, a little bit sketchier. Yeah. And there's also a lot of really nice old people, and a lot of really nice young families in those areas, because houses are cheaper. Yeah. But it also brings shadier characters. So it was like 7:30, so probably not time to be ending my day early. But I had a couple of deals, and I think, if I remember right, it was like 3 or 4. This is probably my third year doing this. So anyways, I got done to where I felt like it was a good stopping point. Or what happened is I saw there was like a tiki shack or something, like shaved ice. Yeah. And I was like, oh dang, that looks freaking nice. I'm gonna go check that out.
What time of year was this?
What time of year? This is summer.
All right.
Like, so it was hot.
So anybody that's done door to door, you know what this is all about.
It was super hot. Yeah, I mean, it'd been a long freaking day. So I pull up on this tiki shack or whatever, and I'm standing in line, and the dude in front of me, tattoos all over his body. And, I just was staring at his tattoos. He was looking towards the tiki shack, thinking about what he was going to order. And one of his tattoos in particular, I don't know how in detail I can get about this. You guys can cut it out if it's too, like, you guys can skip past it. But it was the Kool-Aid Man, but he was a bong. So a bong Kool-Aid Man, and the pipe for the bong was his
penis,
and he was sucking the bong, his own bong. So it was the craziest tattoo I've ever seen on a dude. Like, what I was thinking in my head, like, what kind of freaking dude gets that tattoo on his calf? And then wears shorts where everyone can see it. And dude, I'm not kidding you. I'm sitting there thinking about what kind of person has this tattoo.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear, get on the ground. Get on the ground. And I stand back and I'm like, whoa, like I'm free white and 21. I've never done anything wrong in my life. Like this can't be for me. And dude, all these cops come out from behind the bushes, from the porches that were around, and dude, they freaking tackle this dude and haul his butt out in 30 seconds or less. And I was like, holy crap, what just happened? And I think back and I actually noticed that the neighborhood was pretty lively. Like there was a lot of people out on their porches. There was like a lot of people standing around, and it didn't feel weird to me because there's a lot of people that are out on the street playing at 7:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know is that all those people were freaking undercover cops, and they were getting this dude. And I guess he was
stag or whatever they call
dude.
it.
It was
sting
yeah, no,
operation.
he was apparently wanted for murder, and he had a warrant out, and he'd been on the run for a while, and somehow they were able to snatch him up at this tiki shack. Anyways, I remember walking up to the it was a teenage girl, and she was in tears after, just like,
You're like,
what just
can I get
happened?
pineapple?
I was like, hey, what's your favorite flavor? And she was like, oh, I don't remember what kind. I was like, get two of them, get one for you, get one for me. And, anyways, it was kind of funny. But the other thing was I had a guy that chased me down, and usually I don't really have experiences like this very often, but it was my third day on the job. So this is back in summer 2019, third day on the job, and this old Mexican dude who is, he just looked crazy, like looked absolutely crazy. I'm a pretty small dude, and he was about my size, but 65 and frail.
Yeah.
And he chased me down, slammed on the brakes. I was standing on the corner just getting off someone's porch. And he slammed on the brakes, kind of wheeled his tires and stuff, hopped out of the car, hot. And was just like, got all up in my face. He was spitting on me. And he was just like, you scared my wife. Like, you knocked on my door too loud. And I'm like, I have no idea what this guy is talking about. Like, I had no idea. And anyways, for me, one thing that gets me really fired up is I'm kind of OCD and I don't like other people's germs. So when he started spitting on me, it actually made me like super furious.
Ooh.
And I told this guy like, hey dude, like if you keep spitting on me, I'm going to kill you.
Whoa.
And I shouldn't have probably said that, but I was angrier than I've ever been. And
Yeah.
anyways, he had something in his hand and he was like waving it at me and stuff, and it wasn't a weapon, it was like a chapstick tube, I think is what it was. And he was just like arguing with me and stuff, and he dropped his chapstick on the ground, and he bent over to pick up his chapstick, and I just kicked his chapstick as hard as I could. Just right when he bent over to pick it up, I kicked it, and it went all the way across the road, and then he stood up and hit me with an elbow.
Whoa.
right to my collarbone, my neck area. And luckily he was super old and it didn't really do anything to me. And I was like, all right, dude, like if you want to fight, it's on. Like and I've never been that type of freaking guy. Like I'm a small dude. I'm not one to pick fights, but this dude just started it. And then his wife was in the car. She was videoing, and she was like, I'm going to call the cops. Don't do anything. I'm going to call the cops. Don't hurt him. And I'm like, no, I'm calling the freaking cops. I just got assaulted on video. And he hopped in his car and drove away. And I've had one other physical altercation, someone that pushed me off their porch, and
Whoa.
unwarranted. I didn't do anything to the guy. And other than that, it's a safe job. Anyone who's looking into it, like seriously, it's a very safe job. There's not weird stuff that happens very often, but those are two that come to mind, and we're probably over time, and those probably won't be on record, but those are the two that came to mind.
Oh man, I like the plug at the end. So if you're looking for a job, you want to make $1,000 a week, hit up this number.
Sure, yeah, desertpestcontrol.com, dzrtpestcontrol.com. Freaking sure, hit me up.
Oh man, I remember my doctors way back in the day. I got my first gun pulled on me. I was like, I remember looking at this guy in the face and being like, "You're gonna shoot a cable guy?"
Yeah, like, dude, you're
Really?
gonna lose it all for like. Holy
I'm selling
cow.
internet, man.
Yeah.
Not drugs, internet.
Right.
Oh man, that That bong tattoo is gonna keep me up tonight.
Dude, I've like tried to Google like tattoos, like to try and see if anyone's ever had that, but I think that was an original tattoo. Like most people's tattoos are someone else has had that same tattoo on their body.
That's crazy.
This is like has to be an original tattoo idea.
Dude, that's one of those moments where the tattoo artist was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah. or he was in prison and this dude's like, dude, this would be so funny. Like take this, I've got some crystal. Sick. Take this crystal, and this is just gonna be a fun time. I'm gonna freestyle on your leg and freaking. Oh, yeah, dude, man. What a wild dude. I hope he's doing well.